Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevalabha Kati Sadma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevalabha Kati Sadma Bandamui Savadana Mate Bandamui Savadana Mate Yahara Prasade Bai E Bhavatoriya Jahara Prasade Jahara Prasade Vai Bhavatoriya Jahara Krishna Prapti Hoy Jaha Hoy Te Krishna Prapti Hoy Jaha Hoy Te Prapti Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Ikya Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Ikya Arana Kori Hamane Acha Nakari Hamane Asha Nakari Hamane Shri Guru Charane Rati Eseyu Tamagati charane rati hai isse uttamagati guru charane rati jai prasade pure sarvasha jai prasade pure sarvasha Chakudan dilode janme janme Prabhu se Chakudan dilode janme janme Prabhu se Divya gyan nide prakashita Devigan Hriday Prakashita Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite Avidya Vinasa Jate Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite Avidya Vinasa Jate Mere gai jahara charita Mere gai jahara charita Shigaru karuna sindhu adama janara bannu Shigaru karuna sindhu hadama janara bannu Lokanath lokera jivana Lokanath lokera jivana Aha Prabhu koda doya deha more bharachaya Aha Prabhu koda doya deha more bharachaya Ebe atkusu chivavana Ebe jasa kusu chivavana Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bannu Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bannu Lokanath Lokera Jivana Lokera Jivana Prabhu kora doya deha more bharachaya Prabhu kora doya deha more bharachaya Prabhu Eve atkusu chivavana Doeva loila sharana Prabhupada patita pavana Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasri Gaur Bhaktavinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasri Gaur Bhaktavinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasri Gaur Bhaktavinda. Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Yai Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hare Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Gopal Govinda Ram Simadhusudan. Gopal Govinda Ram Simadhusudan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Gaura Hari Ba Nitai Gaura Hari Ba Nitai Gaura Hari Ba Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Shri Prabhupada Ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Ashtottara Satashri Shimaresi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Everything's back to normal. The Bhaktivedanta Academy is here this morning. So happy. Okay, so while you're getting quietly seated, I'm going to read a little Prabhupada nectar first, before announcements. This is a letter that Prabhupada wrote in 1974. He said, Brahmananda Swami seemed to think that you need more men there. His telegram reads, Trivikram alone, more men required urgently. You have to sit down quietly when you're sitting down. Thank you. I do not understand what he means by alone. What is this alone? A Vaishnava is never alone. When I first came to the United States, I was seemingly alone for 1 year, but I never felt alone. I always felt the presence of my Guru Maharaj. Myself, I was cooking, I was printing books, I was selling books, everything seemingly alone, but I did not lose my determination. Actually, you should know this. You are never alone. So local men are coming daily by good association, good preaching, nice prasadam, etc. They can become devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I want to give a few announcements very quickly. First of all, I want to tell you there was a problem sending out the newsletter, which normally comes in your email on Tuesday mornings. So today we're going to try to send you a link to reach the newsletter. It's also posted on our website, the Alachua temple.com website. You can get it there. And hopefully maybe by the end of today or tomorrow, the service that we use will allow us to send it out. Also, esta noche en la casa de Jai Kirtan hay un programa con His Holiness Bhakti Vrata Damodar Swami a las 6. Empieza a prasadam y después a las 7 Maharaj va a hablar. Sin niños, por favor. Okay. And then Jaiva Dharma Temple Room, 7 p.m. And now we're going to do a little presentation. The children who went out on book distribution for the marathon are going to present their results to Shishi Radhe Sham for their pleasure. And I heard I'm getting the biggest check I've ever gotten. And you know how I love big checks. So I'm really excited about this big check. I can't wait to see how much is in my big check. Okay. Here's some more.
Hare Krishna. So, as a yearly tradition for us at Bhaktivedanta Academy, the last week before school lets out is what we call our outreach week, and we take this as an opportunity for our families and students to give back to the community in various ways. And one of the ways in which we do it is that our older students in our upper elementary and our middle school actually go out into the community and go to various businesses and distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. And they give out prasadam cakes and just have a nice time interacting with the community and giving a little bit of spiritual knowledge outside of New Ramanreti. And so we wanted to take an opportunity today to acknowledge the students that all participated in that endeavor before school left out, and then also share a couple stories. And yes, we have a huge check to give to Mother Mukya. Part of our arrangement we do with in this regard is Mother Mukya makes a lot of prasadam cakes that the students distribute, and they give us all the books. And so as a reciprocation of that, we also like to give a donation back to the temple for all their help in what we do, and just as our way of saying thank you for being part of the New Ramanreti community. So Mother Sukada, the lead teacher in our upper elementary class, will tell us a little bit about their experience.
First of all, I have to say that a very enthusiastic group, because before we started, I gave everyone the option to not go out. I said, is there anybody here that doesn't want to go on the Christmas Marathon? Because I thought there might be. And one of the girls said, Mother Sukada, there's nobody that doesn't want to go out. So they all got to go out at least once. And needless to say, people are very impressed with just the effulgence of these wonderful children and their enthusiasm. And the main focus for them was really the books. When they brought up the cake, they would all have a book. They have Bhagavad Gita, they'd have Vegetarian Cookbook, they'd have Coming Back, they'd have, the yoga book, every book that would be represented. And so people definitely knew what we were about, who we were. And we were pretty impressed at how receptive people are also to Krishna consciousness. It just shows that over the years, all the prasadam that's been distributed, all the books that have been distributed, all the kirtan that's been performed is really taking an effect and changing people's hearts. So many places we went in, people would we'd sing our song, and then they say, "Yeah, I want to support you guys. I want to support you guys," and they were very generous too. Sarva, did you want to just share the one story? Okay, come on up. Sarva likes to be in front of the public. Most don't, but she doesn't. That was the
first day when we were doing the marathon, we saw one lady and we sang for her, and we did 2 mantras, and we gave her a couple of books and a lot of cakes. She took a lot, 10, and she gave us more than $100 when we were there. And she told us a couple stories, and some people, they didn't want a cake, and they didn't even donate, but we gave them a book.
So everybody got the mercy. Right?
So everybody got some mercy.
Yeah, this particular lady is pretty amazing because we've been going to her for over 20 years, maybe not every year, but pretty much. And so she loves the kids. She's a Christian lady, but she asks for them. They'll sing their song, Hare Krishna to you. And then she'll say, "Can you sing a song to me now in your language?" Which means it's time to chant our Bhagavad Gita verses. So we chant Dehinasmin and Macha Sparsas, and she loves it. And then, actually, when we first went in, she stood up. She's quite elderly, and she said, "You see this here?" She kind of, grabbed her hip. She said, "See all this fat?" She said, "You know why it's there? It's because of you guys," she said, "because your cakes are so good, and I eat so many." So she's really, really a kind of amazing woman, and she did tell lots of stories, and she is planning on coming out to the temple. She'd like to come out of the temple. The kids were she asked the kids, she said, "How old do you think I am?" And one of the kids said, 15. One of the other ones said, 39. She said, I love you guys. She's 81, so definitely made her day. And what else did I say about her? Anyway, very, very positive experiences. Is there anybody else that would like to tell a little story about what you remember? It was just, there were so many, really, but one place we went into, it was a grocery store. You want to tell something else? Okay, quickly. We don't want to...
One lady, when we were visiting her, it was a little business shop, and she said that she didn't have any money. And when we were leaving, we were just about to get into the car. She came running out with $5.
There you go.
I also, Mother Sukada, if you can stay up here. I also want to take a moment to thank Mother Sukada because she's been enthusiastically taking the students out for this marathon week, and it's quite taxing. It's many hours out, and she just keeps doing it. And we wouldn't have been able to really enthuse the students and to have such nice positive interactions in the community without her. So I wanted to take an opportunity to thank Mother Sukada. So in terms of what the students distributed, they distributed a little over 69 small books, 100. Okay, 100 small books, 4 Bhagavad Gitas, and 71 Prasadam cakes during that 4-day period in which they went out. And they received over $700 in donations from the community. So, Mother Mukhya, if you want to. So we have a very large check here for Mother Mukhya. So a $500 donation to the New Ramaredi Temple on behalf of the students of Bhaktivedanta Academy. So thank you.
Thank you. This is Future Leaders of ISKCON. Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. And Hari Parayana Prabhu is giving class today.
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरवनचारी यमुनातीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस केसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की समवेत भक्त वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauramani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 58. The verses for today, 30 through 38. And because we don't have much time now, what we'll do is chant all of the verses together. Okay, so verse 30. Vindyanu Vindyavantyo Duryodhana Vashanugau Swayamvare Svabhaginim Krishne Saktam Nashedhatam. Translation: Vindhya and Anuvindhya, who shared the throne of Avanti, were followers of Duryodhana. When the time came for their sister Mitravinda to select her husband in the Swayamvar ceremony, they forbade her to choose Krishna, although she was attracted to him. Purport: the feelings of enmity between the Kurus and the Pandavas were so strong that Mitravinda's brothers, out of friendship for Duryodhana, forbade the young maiden to accept Krishna as her husband. Text 31. Rajadi Devyas Tanayam Mitra Vindam Pitrusvashuh Prasaya Ritavan Krishno Rajan Radnyam Prapashyatam. Translation: My dear king, Lord Krishna forcibly took away Princess Mitravinda, the daughter of his aunt Rajadi Devi, before the eyes of the rival kings. 32. Nagnajinnam Kaushalya Asid Rajati Dharmikah Tasya Satya Bhavat Kanya Devi Nagnajiti Nrapa. O king, Nagnajit, the very pious king of Kaushalya, had a lovely daughter named Satya or Nagnajiti. Text 33. Natam Shekur Nrapa Vodhum Ajitva Saptagyo Vrushan Tikshna Shringan Sudurdarshan Virya Gandha Sahan Khalan. The kings who came as suitors were not allowed to marry her unless they could subdue 7 sharp-horned bulls. These bulls were extremely vicious and uncontrollable, and they could not tolerate even the smell of warriors. Text 34. Tam Shritva Vishajillabhyam Bhagavan Satvatam Patihi Jagama Kaushalya Puram Sainyena Mahata Vritah. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of the Vaishnavas, heard of the princess who was to be won by the conqueror of the bulls, he went to the capital of Kaushalya with a large army. Text 35. Sakoshala patihi prita pratyuthana sanadibihi arhenena pi guruna pujayan pratinanditaha. The king of Koshala, pleased to see Lord Krishna, worshipped him by rising from his throne and offering him a seat of honor and substantial gifts. Lord Krishna also greeted the king respectfully. Text 36. This one seems to be a different meter. Varam vilokya bhimatam samagatam narendra kanya chakame ramapatim bhuyadayam me patirashishonalah karotu satya yadi me dhruto vrataha. When the king's daughter saw that most agreeable suitor arrive, she immediately desired to have him, the lord of goddess Rama. She prayed, "May he become my husband. If I have kept my vows, may the sacred fire bring about the fulfillment of my hopes." Text 37. This is a different meter. Yat pada pankajaraja shirasa bibharti Shri Rabjajah Sagirishah Sahalokapalai Leela Tanuhswa Kritasetu Paripsayayah Kale Dadhatsa Bhagavan Mamake Natushe. Translation. Goddess Lakshmi, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the rulers of the various planets placed the dust of his lotus feet on their heads. And to protect the codes of religion which he has created, he assumes pastime incarnations at various times. How may that Supreme Personality of Godhead become pleased with me? Text 38. Architam punaritiyaha narayana jagatpate atmanandena purnasya karamani kimalpakaha. King Nagnajit first worshipped the Lord properly and then addressed him. O Narayan, Lord of the universe, you are full in your own spiritual pleasure. Therefore, what can this insignificant person do for you? Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So today I divided my talk into two parts. In the first part, I will talk about why we believe these pastimes, that these pastimes are real, they represent reality. And then in the second pastime, I want to present Sanatana Goswami Pad's commentary on these verses, if you have time. So, to orient those who came in late, this chapter describes the marriage between Krishna and 5 princes. Krishna had 8 principal queens, or has 8 principal queens. And I want to invite the students to guess or tell me the names of his 8 principal queens. Gauranga? Rukmini? Yes? Satyabhama? Anybody else? Okay, so you have as bad a memory as I do, so I'm going to read the names. Rukmini, Jambavati, Satyabhama, Kalindi, Mitravinda, Nagnajiti, Lakshmana, and Bhadra. 3 of these, the marriage of Krishna to 3 of these queens already has been described in the pastimes before. Satyabhama, Rukmini, and Jambavati. And now the rest of the 5, this chapter covers Krishna's marriage, wedding to these 5 princes. And Mitravinda is Mitravinda and Nagnajiti. These are the 2 that we discussed today. So, what is happening here? Mitravinda is the princess of Avanti. Avanti is modern day Ujjain. It's in Madhya Pradesh in India. And she wants to marry Krishna, but her brothers are envious and they don't want her to do that. So Krishna comes and forcibly, you could say, abducts her, and then they get married. So that's the first. And then the second one is Nagnajiti, who's the daughter of King Nagnajit. So now to come to the question of why we as Vaishnavas accept these pastimes as real. Now why do I raise that question? We all have read about the handsome knight in shining armor fighting the dragons and rescuing the princess from some dark dungeon. She's been kidnapped by this dragon. There are so many fairy tales that we hear where the hero fights. He's a hero. He has great military prowess, and he fights and defeats these dragons or bad elements and rescues the princess and marries. So are these fairy tales? And Krishna is a hero, and we have these queens that have been, and there are many stories like this. Rukmini's marriage to Krishna was the same way. She wrote a letter to Krishna, and then Krishna came, and in the middle of all the warriors is described like a lion takes his prey from the jackals, the midst of jackals. He takes So how do we? I find myself personally, it's useful for me to remind myself why I am in this in the first place. To go back to the origins of how I started, to reflect and ask, to question ourselves, our beliefs. Where are they coming from? Why am I in this? So, and I do this a lot, to remind myself. Now, I remember here outside, meeting a young man. He's an Indian, well-educated, you would say, and probably had a PhD or something. Rational, analytical mind, or so he thinks. And we started chatting. And he said, well, you believe this Bhagavad Gita. I could believe in Mein Kampf. I could believe in the Egyptian scrolls. I could believe in whatever I wanted. You can believe in anything. What's the point? What's the use? So I don't know if the kids know what Mein Kampf is, but I'm sure the adults know. You do? Good. So equating the Bhagavad Gita with Mein Kampf is monstrosity. It's difficult to hear such things. But he was a guest, and so I answered in a way that I thought was reasonable. So I wanted to answer that question really, why? And the answer for me, and I think the answer differs for different people, but maybe what I have to say is of use to some. And the answer for me was that it's a question of identity. Why do people believe in physics textbooks? Nobody asks, why do you believe in physics textbooks? Or why do you pick up that chemistry textbook and say, yeah, that's correct? Because it has some qualities, that knowledge. It is reasonable, it is verifiable, and it is attested to by authorities. Correct? The scientific authorities attest to it. Yeah, that's true. It's the distilled information that we have after trial and error measurements and theories on the current modern day understanding of the world. And it has results, verifiable results. What are the results? Well, we have technology. We have the electricity in this room. We have aeroplanes that fly and cars that work and satellites that allow cell phones to work. So the proof is in the pudding. We can apply the same metrics to Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. Is it reasonable? Is it verifiable? Is it attested to by authorities? Does it produce results? If you read books on dragons or Harry Potter, which is the modern day version of this, sorry Divya, I always pick on Harry Potter. I apologize. I should find somebody else. But anyway, for now, Harry Potter, he also fights, I'm sure he fights all kinds of things. 3-headed dogs and trees who are alive and throwing stones at him and so on. Reading Harry Potter doesn't create a transformation in the heart. It doesn't cause material passions and desires to subside. It doesn't purify us. We experience, when we read the Bhagavatam, we experience purification, a cessation of frustration, lamentation, hankering, peace. Fiction doesn't bring peace. Krishna's pastimes are not fiction. This is a case of fiction following fact. Krishna's pastimes are fact, and fiction derives inspiration from his pastimes. It's the other way around. But coming back to this question, well, why pursue, when we have physics and chemistry and math and biology, why pursue knowledge of the Bhagavatam? Because none of these books tell us who we are. The question of identity is not settled. So, the way I view it, I am like a person who is shopping. And people think that this is a question of faith, but this is not a question of faith. We don't believe these things. At least from my point of view, I'm not in this because of faith. This is not the way people think faith is, dogmatic process. The reason I'm in it is because I made a choice. There is a difference between a choice and faith. So I want to explain that by explaining the choice that a shopper makes. Let's say we go to a computer store. I want to buy a computer. So the modern day shopper, he looks at the statistics of individual brands, customer reviews, specifications, price, and then he makes the best decision possible with the information available to him. When he makes the decision to buy a computer, it does not imply that it's a faith-based choice. He makes the decision based on information that's available. And then he's well aware that the choice could be wrong, that the computer might fail, because there is always a failure rate. And he's fully aware of that, and yet he makes the choice, because the choice has to be made. It is necessary. He's shopping for a computer. In the same way, I am shopping in the marketplace of ideas of the world for an answer to the question, who am I? If I go to the scientific physics, chemistry, biology books, the answer is that I am atoms. That means I am dirt. That means I don't exist. Nothing exists. There is no perceiver. There is nothing that's perceived. Nobody, none of these people in this room, according to modern day science, which is the topmost knowledge we have, nobody exists. Relationships don't exist. There's no such thing as love. There is no such thing as truth. And there is no such thing as untruth. Richard Dawkins, a famous atheist, he says, well, why can't you just appreciate the garden for its beauty? Why do you have to look for a fairy under the bottom of it? Okay, but who is perceiving the garden? And who is looking for a fairy? Why does it matter what truth is and what untruth is? Why are the scientists and the atheists so concerned about my dogmatic beliefs in fairy tales? Doesn't make any sense, because ultimately nothing matters. There's only... See, the trouble with this philosophy of materialism, of lack of a soul, is the fact that everybody, including the atheist, when he opens his mouth to say anything, he makes the a priori assumption that it matters what he says. But if he believes his philosophy, then he doesn't matter. It's just energy, sound waves in air, and who is perceiving it? Why the obsession with truth? So if you're going to make the assumption that you matter, then you have to be something more than matter. It's a fait accompli. There is no option but to choose that we are not matter. Because if I am just a programmed robot, a molecular robot, then it doesn't really matter what I believe, what I choose to believe. So I'm going to make the conscious choice. I don't like the product A, that's present in the scientific worldview of things, that I'm matter alone. I'm a shopper, and I don't buy it. I don't like it. So what am I going to do? I look into this marketplace of spiritual ideas, and there I'm given a reason to exist. There they say, no, you exist. Don't believe the scientists. You matter, because you're not matter alone. Okay, so now I'm thinking, all right, I like that concept, and I'm going to choose to accept that. It may be wrong, but what do I have to lose other than my own non-existence? Okay, so I'll theoretically accept that I may be more than matter. And then love matters. Love takes on a meaning. Relationships take on a meaning. I have a purpose in life. And if I lived in vain, so be it. What does it matter anyway? Now the question comes, well, what about the Mein Kampf versus the Bhagavad Gita or Harry Potter? I touched upon it, that those don't bring about transformations in the heart. But even if somebody said, oh, that's hocus pocus, that's just bogus, the main question is, the philosophy, this product, the Bhagavad Gita, in the marketplace of ideas, what does it tell me about the world? Does it help me rationalize, come up with rational explanations, logical justifications for what happens in my experience? Because there is the Bible, there is the Quran, there is the Torah, there is the Buddha, there are so many Jains. So what should I believe? But none of these thought systems, if you will, allow the concept of reincarnation. None of these allow me an explanation for why a 2-year-old will die of cancer. The world seems intrinsically unfair. If I am spirit and not matter, the world is designed in an unfair way, and God can't be just. God is unfair, cruel. So it is not satisfactory to me, at least, that these different other products, spiritual products out there, offer the answers. They say that there is no such thing as rebirth, then I cannot explain the injustice that's in this world. I cannot explain, rationalize why I am suffering. So because of that, again, it's a fait accompli. I don't really have a choice. The Bhagavad Gita is the only thing that's there. Then the question is, well, what about these pastimes? Seems like fiction. But there is a process to approach these pastimes. The process has to be followed. The product has specifications. There is a manual. We have to read the manual on how to actually use the product. If the product is 110 volts and we plug it into a 220 volt power outlet, you're burning the product off. You're destroying it. So there is a process to not accept, but to evaluate and use the product. So this process has to do with satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti rutkarna rasayana katha. The topics of Krishna have to be heard in the presence of devotees from the realized devotees. Then they are not fairy tales anymore. But the atheists will respond, again, that's brainwashing. You just come together as a group, you believe your thing, you talk to each other, and you convince each other, and you discuss some more, and you convince each other more about complete untruths. But there is a problem with that argument. There are two problems with it. The first problem is that the acharyas that we follow were geniuses, and I think any person who evaluates them neutrally will see that these are not ordinary people. Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, going back Sridhar Swami, Srila Prabhupada, at the age of 70, the way the Prabhupada answered questions and destroyed challenges, speaks through his intelligence, razor sharp intelligence, his genius. These people are geniuses. If you look at the commentaries of Madhvacharya, the intricate analysis, logical argumentation. These people are not so easy, they're not dull, they're not just brainwashed people, that they're just going to accept anything and everything under the sun in the name of religion. The second problem with it is that our acharyas emphatically claim that they have realized God. Sanatana Goswami, one of our acharyas, he met God and he took direct instruction from him. Now, like Prabhupada used to say, whether you believe it or not is your business. But this is the claim. We claim that our Vaishnava acharyas, they directly spoke Krishna, the source of all creation. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada spoke with God. We all know his boat journey on Jaladuta where Krishna personally came. Oh, these are just some delusions or lies. Well, they're not. Because it's unreasonable to say that on one hand, a person like Srila Prabhupada, who is so practical, who managed such a large organization, who wrote such intricate philosophy and argued so forcefully and logically for concepts, thought systems, who had such a lofty character, and all our acharyas are like that, who had nothing to do with the material world, who had no material desires left, that he would lie, it just seems out of character. That he would concoct, make something up to impress somebody else when the person has no material desires left. How do we know that? Look at his renunciation. He sacrificed his life, took great risk to take that journey. It is out of character, it doesn't add up to say that these people are concocting or lying, to influence or persuade large mass audience to to attract power and following. And so it is with Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, who wore a loincloth and lived and slept under different trees. What did they have to do with the world? With adulation, with cheating others. So that doesn't add up. We reject the claim that these are falsities because it is out of character for the people. Compared to the people who make the allegation that the Bhagavad Gita is Mein Kampf, or who make the allegation that our acharyas are pretenders or deluded, who have no character whatsoever. And this is why character is so important. Who is speaking is very important. Who is giving the knowledge? It's critical. Okay, so that's my ranting against the alternative view. The conclusion I would draw is we live in a parallel reality. We don't live, or at least that's the program. When we come to the temple, we step into a parallel reality. It's not the material world. And that's why things don't square up with the material world, but we don't care. Because we made the conscious choice to be in this world and not in the material world. So in the time I have left, which is about 3 minutes, let's see if I can do justice to Sanatana Goswami Pa's commentary. I chose this verse. Actually, he has commentaries on each of these verses. They are deeply revealing. One thing I will point out, he explains why Nagnajit, what the word Nagnajit means. So I'll read this Sanskrit here. I never understood where that came from. Ati dharmikah Shri Bhagavad Dharma Para iti arthaha ata eva nagnan jainan api jayati swavashe karoti iti nagnajit. What that means is that in this verse text, let's see where it comes. Text 32. Raja ati dharmikaha. Ati dharmikaha is translated here religious, very religious. Sanatana Goswami Pad explains that word as Shri Bhagavad Dharma Para, Vaishnava. Bhagavad Dharma, Para, one who is completely surrendered to this Vaishnava Dharma. That's Nagnajit. And because he was that, Ataeva, therefore, Nagnan Jainan, the Jains are atheists in India. Nagnan, they are naked, they walk naked. Nagnan Jainanapi Jayati. He could defeat even these atheists. And that's why his name is Nagnajit. So that's the meaning of the word Nagnajit. Okay. So coming to verse 37. Beautiful verse. Yat pada pankaj raja shirasa bibharti shri rabjajah sagirishah sah lokapalaihi Leela tanuh swakrata setu paripsayayah kale dadhat sa bhagwan mamakena tushye. This reminds me of another verse which I want to chant because I like it very much, which is in the 11th canto. Everybody recognizes it. Dheyam sada paribhavagnam abhishta doham tirthaspadam shiva virinchinutam sharanyam Bhrityartiham pranatapala bhavabdipotam mande mahapurushate charanaravindam. I heard this verse for the first time when I was hearing a recording of Srila Prabhupada in his last days, and an Indian visitor came to meet him. And he offered his obeisances by singing this verse. I was thinking, where is this verse? So I looked it up on the internet, that's how I found it. And he was calling Srila Prabhupada, Vande Mahapurushate Charanaravindam. He was offering his respectful obeisances, calling Prabhupada Mahapurusha. That verse is for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Dheyam Sada, always we should meditate on the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which destroys all the inconveniences of this material world. Paribhavagnam. This material disease, gnam, destroys it. And then the next one is Tirthaspadam, is the refuge of all the holy places, and Prabhupada also includes all the holy people, sadhus, his feet, lotus feet. Shiva Virinchinutam, Shiva and Brahma, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, they offer obeisances at those lotus feet. And this is what's being said here. It's kind of really the same thing. Even the meter is the same. Yat pada pankaja raja shirasa bibharti. Shrir, Lakshmi, Abja is lotus, Abja Jaha, born of the lotus. Lord Brahma, and Giri is mountain, Isha is controller, so the Lord of the mountains, that's Shiva. They take the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna onto their heads. Saha Lokapalahi. Sanatana Goswami Pad explains that Lokapal here refers to Indra and all the other demigods. They take the dust of the feet of Krishna's feet on their heads. And then it's interesting here, I couldn't understand this sentence till I read this. Lila tanuh swakrita setu paripsayaya. Then it goes into it seems like a tangent that he created the codes of religion, and to protect it he performs lila, pastimes. And how will this Lord become pleased with me? That's the overall construction of this verse. So Sanatana Goswami Prabhupada explains, this also goes to saying this is not a fairy tale. Because the acharyas derive such depth of meaning, they show us how deep these verses are. Each verse, this verse, Sanatana Goswami Prabhupada has written a whole page on it, just this verse. So how is it? You can't do that with Harry Potter or even Shakespeare. There is a logic, a rationale for everything in these verses. It's beyond human calculation. So here what he's saying is the sequence, he's explaining the sequence. Why is Lakshmi mentioned first, then Brahma, then Shiva, and then the demigods? Sanatana Goswami explains. It's because of the level of intimacy. The most intimate is Lakshmi. Then the son, Brahma. So because of affection from the son, his name is mentioned. Brahma's friend is Lord Shiva. So his name is mentioned. And then Krishna, Bibharti, he sustains these different demigods. And so they are mentioned. So it's a hierarchy. That's how the sequence is, of affection. So what Nagnajiti, Satya, she is praying is that these great souls, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lakshmi, they take the dust of the feet of Krishna. Why? Because they have great devotion. And she mentions, according to Sanatana Goswami Pad, here, Shri Adaya Yasya Tatha Bhaktin Kurvanti Tad Bhakto Koham Iti Bhava. These great souls, the way they do perform devotional service to Krishna, how can I do that? I can't. That's why they're being mentioned. She's expressing her dainya, her humility, that these are far, far greater personalities, far greater devotees than I am. And even they, she mentions, that's why Leela is mentioned here. Even they cannot participate in Krishna's Leelas. Even they cannot get the dust of Krishna's feet so easily. Right? Even they want that dust. Advaitacharya is an example. Advaitacharya is Lord Shiva. He wants the dust of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet. But Mahaprabhu doesn't let him do that. Because Mahaprabhu treats him as his guru and he takes instead the dust of Advaitacharya's feet. So this is true. So even for them it's very difficult to get the dust of Krishna's feet on their heads. And then why is this mentioned? Paripsaya? Why is codes of religion being mentioned? She says, because I am fallen, according to Sanatana Goswami Pad. I am fallen. I have transgressed. Swadharma Maryada Atikramena Bhakti Adhikar Nasti. I don't have any right on Krishna, on bhakti, because I have transgressed the codes of religion. And Krishna is coming to establish the codes of religion. And so she's asking, well, Kena Tushet, how can I satisfy him? It's an extreme sense of dainya bhav. Humility is the wrong word. I don't know what it is, what the English word is, where she is expressing her deep desperation for Krishna, expressing her lack of devotion, her transgression of dharma. I don't know how that's possible, but anyway, that's her sentiment. So this is what Sanatana Goswami Pad explains this verse. It's a long commentary and we don't have any time, so I'm going to close here, and then if any questions or comments, they're welcome. Hare Krishna. Question? at the back. Sesha Prabhu first.
Thank you, Hare Prabhu, for a very analytical class. I think that in addition to your analysis of why we believe, that to complete that, we have to go more into the heart. You mentioned heart, changing the heart very little, but most of it was strength of intelligence in mind and defeating arguments. But there are experiences, direct experiences of love for Krishna and Krishna's presence in one's life that can't be explained solely by an intellectual or mental explanation of why we believe. And I think that another time, another place, that needs to be explored and added to what you've described here. Because certainly we may meet a very powerfully intelligent, brilliant mind, and if all we have to guard our creeper of devotion is our own mind and intelligence, we may be defeated, and we may actually accept that defeat if we remain on that platform only. But if we have some actual experience of the presence of Krishna, which comes, as you know, at the Bhava stage of development of love of God, direct intervention in our lives by the Supreme Lord, then, despite whatever intellect we meet, we won't be moved. That'll be another irrationality that the materialist has to deal with, but it's part of advancement in Krishna consciousness.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Anybody on the ladies' side? Students have any questions?
Hare. Interesting. So you were saying earlier that you accept this process rather than other stuff because, basically because it's coming from the authorities. The line of authority is coming down from the Lord himself through the acharyas and so forth. Whereas in the scientific circle, knowledge is ascending, right? You're experimenting and finding stuff, but because it's all based on sense perception and the extension of that, it's still very limited, very, very limited, really. And amidst that, really, there's so much assumptions and so much theories. See, that's misdirecting the world and misleading the world. And the scientists, even though they may seem logical and rational, but because everything they've done is actually zeros. They're never accepting the supreme control or the supreme being. Whatever their findings are would still become zero at the end. They're still challenging, and they're still misleading constantly. They're misleading the whole world into thinking that life came from primordial soup, and they're, and Big Bang is the origin of the universe, and it's actually it's a demonic mentality in a so-called word jugglery way, and it's so for us to accept that that circle is not enough for us, really. So that's why we're accepting what we're accepting, and we place emphasis on what we're emphasizing.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. Tagore Premanande.
human beings doing science believe so many things.
No. Science is also good. I'm a scientist, I'm a practicing scientist. I believe my hypothesis because the evidence supports it. But I might give it up in time if the evidence can't.
So you believe, but that's a different sort of belief than ultimate belief.
But the scientist, there is an extremely spiritual reality. And that's the belief system.
You're a scientist and you know.
Sure, not all scientists.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Not all scientists.
Yeah, as a scientist, believe many things on many different levels, but then as a professional discipline, understand it.
Yeah, for this audience, I guess, for them,
No.
scientists are equated with atheists.
I know, so you might, this is my thing, you might want to know one of your qualifiers because it makes you know, just because, you know what I mean? There's a lot of scientists, people are very complicated. And there are dominant paradigms in the scientific community as far as metaphysical perspectives, no question.
I guess I'm insensitive to the scientists, but they don't deserve my sensitivity.
Well, you gotta
A lot of them don't.
You gotta do what you gotta do in different audiences.
But he was right, so she provided mention that transformation of the heart.
Yeah, because ultimately, because part of this belief that we're going to intellectually figure it out comes out of the Reformation. It's a Protestant thing that we're going to go back to a literal.
No, it is an Atma Tattva, it's Bhagavad Gita, second chapter.
Yeah, because
Who are you?
the intellect only can go so far. So if they believe in anything, they believe, this is a Protestant belief too, that through the intellect we're going to capture the mind of
That's
whatever this thing is.
That's the gap.
Yeah. They have faith in God. They have faith in God.
What do you have faith in?
I have faith in whatever you're about to say, but I don't get in trouble.
He's surrendered. He's like, don't shoot.
Yeah, hands up, don't shoot. Anyways, this is all wrangling, you know, whatever you engage in. And whatever Madhavati says.
Everybody knows whatever I say. Why is that? I didn't know I had so much power. First of all, I really appreciated your logic and approach. It was really nice. And I was appreciating because I was coming. But I was thinking that in 2000, back, I asked, first time I saw such an Maharaj, and I asked him a question. My tendency was, I took that instruction very seriously. He gave me 2 instructions. And the other instruction, I will tell you, you might have heard my story of my Girira. I got one. Maybe one day I'll tell you. Amazing story. But where that came from
no justification needed.
I noticed that she might be doing before.
No, I wasn't. I was just giving you my own personal experience about that. That's what I really appreciated this whole, because it's so strange to sit to stand gospel. It's so important to hear that analysis, because at all different points, I just for myself, it's important for me to hear that.
Today's class I gave So the fact is that my progression has not been like that. Presenting this. And every now and then, when I'm challenged, I get family problems, and I have to fall back on these things. But the reality is, it's the love of the devotees that keeps me going, keeps me on. It's not the intention.
That's what I thought in your case.
But these are tools that every devotee should have to cut down insults. So this is the reason I get this class.
Are you able?
It's a service. It's a qualifying.
Are you able? When you're talking to people, are you able to?
This is what gets me every time. My teaching is like is entirely about this.
Oh, that's
How
really good.
you can see in the PowerPoints where I tell them it's a conscious choice, because all the students that come to my class, they start by saying, this is all nonsense. This is dogma, this is belief. You require belief. Everybody says, but that requires belief. That requires belief. They don't want belief. But it is not belief if you approach it this way. It's not a belief. So then this is why I devised this thing, this construct.
I like to see it.
I can send you all the PowerPoints.
Okay.
Many lectures. So then in that, I say it's not a belief system, it's a choice. And then I lay out consequences of the choice, and that gets them every time. And actually, it's no coincidence that Krishna starts his first instruction with this point. This is Gyan, this is not belief. But if that Gyan takes us to Krishna, then it's good. So that 2.9, 2.8, the first instruction is no coincidence. Bhagavatam, everywhere, constantly they describe not God. And it clicked for me. That's why they're describing it. Because it's something you cannot argue. It has to be done, otherwise people just, they're more and more. All this time, this boy came, he thinks he's very smart. He's rational, and everybody else is here, dancing crazy. They don't even some philosophy. That's what I'm against. That's what I'm against. And I think that's what we're going to be against more and more, because everybody's getting this information. It's spreading. Every single person is getting some information. It's like eyes. So we have to present the philosophy in every way. There's no escape from it.
It'd be nice if you can.
Not everybody has different tool weapons. Some people are some kind of, so you have carry, stuff. I only have, I'm carry. So everybody has different tools. those cantos, then I'll become more serious about my putting something.
Well, just like Sarvashta, he also has Hindi translation. You just did it. You just did it.
Yeah, I'm doing it just because it gives me great nourishment.
But it's very, again, it's very valuable. Like you were saying before, I really like that analysis of this verses from this one, this one, and this one, that is the level of devotion. That stuff that really is me. Hear that kind of analysis.
And the other thing is that a lot of the kids of the devotees, they don't have this, because they're exposed to scientific world. You had the pleasure of privilege of being able to, but these kids are going out and influenced by places outside, and they start feeling like they're not really encouraging choice. They're just doing this much. And then they have to, why are they?
For myself, I feel like I need to just hear it again, just let it out, I mean, for me, when it comes down to it, I just think, this is what I always think. All these great acharyas, they're all, none of them are crazy. They're all such good character. They're doing it, they believe in it. So I just.
But like I said, it is not a non-directional choice. It's a fait accompli. Everybody's making that choice. And then they're rejecting it, they're contradicting themselves. When somebody says, I don't believe I am so, then he's contradicting himself. Because he cares about himself and he lives in a way that he values himself and his relatives and he puts value. It's a question of whether you value anything about yourself. If you don't, then you should kill yourself. That's the real honest. That's honestly living your philosophy. If you say you're only atoms, why do you want to suffer? Shoot yourself and you're done. Go back to the earth where you came from and don't suffer. That's Buddha's philosophy. He doesn't say shoot yourself, but that's my solution. If you don't, if that person doesn't shoot himself, then he is living a contradiction. His philosophy and his externals, there is a contradiction. That he matters. So Richard Dawkins hates the religions because he thinks he matters. They have signed it. Richard Dawkins' website says for the good of humanity. Those words don't have any meaning intrinsically. Or he says, various things. So the point is he is living a contradiction. And that's what I point out. They can't argue with this. And the reason they can't argue with this is Krishna's will. So, but the way what happened to me was this logic kept me going during my family studies. Because I didn't have any experience. I just came out this. And so I internalized it. And now that it's internalized, and there are challenges, they don't disturb me at all. Because I know what I'm doing. And that has actually allowed me to go on and relish Krishna consciousness. Krishna's hand, I can see Krishna's hand in my life. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Knowledge leads to Jnana. Because Prabhupada knew us, that's why people are so grateful. That's the first thing.
That's the point. Ignorance is the greatest enemy of spirituality. And you can't have spirituality if you're not very creative.
It just took me so long to understand this.
It's so nice to hear that how you love, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's definitely, if somebody loves Lord Chaitanya,
But it's inevitable. Anybody who believes in, how can you not? It's just people don't think. They don't have the time. They took the time to read. Thank you for your instruction. And please continue to give instructions. You don't have to come and assuage my feelings and never take any offense to what you say.
Quite honestly, I thought, should I say this?